Hi, this is Sebastian. Yeah, welcome you all to Facebook Live on Ironman. Yeah, first of all, thanks for tuning in, and thanks to Ironman for having me on their platform. Let's see how happy they are when they find out I'm gonna change all their passwords. Yeah, currently I'm in Arizona, like you could see on this wonderful flag on the back. Me and my wife we rented a little condo here in Tucson, and yeah, this is not my first time in Tucson. I've been here a couple of times, and some of the questions were why I choose yeah, Tucson, Arizona. So in the last couple of years I've been on the Canary Islands quite a few times. I think I spent more than a year in total in Fuerteventura, and it's a nice place for training. Yeah, this year my wife, she has some time off work, and she's working currently. But yeah, so therefore we went to a place, yeah, where you not only could do good training sessions, but also a little bit socializing and a little bit more than just a good pool. But definitely it's also here. The conditions are very good. Weather is fine, and I could use some of the facilities from UA. And like you could see on this year, I've already done a swim today. So yeah, to start with a couple of questions you have asked me in the last days when I yeah, published this, that I'm gonna do this Facebook Live. First of all, how my year looks like. Like I said, this is the biggest camp, the first big camp. I don't know if you could even call it a camp since it's 2 months, but I've been on Fuerteventura in late December 2016. That's pretty much where I kicked off my training. Yeah, I've done a lot of base miles there, a lot of hours on the bike, of course, and yeah, here it's getting a little bit more intense. Yeah, you have some really good cyclists here, group rides, the very famous yeah, shootout on Saturday, where you not only have good triathletes but also some road cyclists, and yeah, it's also always easier to suffer together, and also some good swims here. I'm doing quite some training together with the Hoff, Ben Hoffman. That's a fact I really love about the sport is, yeah, we are going really hard during the race and everybody wants to win, but of course it's another thing. It's great, yeah, to hang around, and yeah, and then I have another camp, short camp in March in Fuerteventura, which is gonna be just like 12 days probably. Yeah, right here I'm with my road bike. I do all my training on the road bike right now. I find this a little bit easier, especially with the group rides. During the winter in Germany, I spend a lot of time on my text trainer, and there I usually always use a TT bike. I found it's very easy to ride the TT position on the trainer. There are no cars to worry about, and so I just like focus on a specific interval training. Yeah, then races. The first race is Cannes International Triathlon on 16th of April. I've done that one before. It's a pretty it was a pretty challenging bike course, and it still is, but yeah, in the last years it was also a little bit dangerous, I think, and they changed that around, so it's I hope it's a little bit nicer. Yeah, the second race is definitely one of my favorite races on the Ironman circuit. That's 70.3 St. George, and yeah, I really love that race. I've done it quite a few times. I always struggled, and that race kind of really humbled me. People back home were asking why I keep coming back and doing this race, because I wasn't able to win it yet, and yeah, it's early in the season. It's not only a very challenging course, but it's also US Pro Championships. A lot of good guys turn up every year, and so it's really not a piece of cake to kick off the season with that race. But I mean, that's what triathlon is all about, I guess. It's not only yeah, posting the fastest times and always looking for the fastest course, but I wanna challenge myself, and that's definitely possible on this course. Not only because of the course, but because of the athletes. And yeah, last year it went okay. I ended up second to Lionel Sanders, and yeah, I'm looking really forward to go back to that race. That's, I mean, as a pro, you have races where you sort of have to do and have to win, because it's yeah, it's high media exposure. The sponsors like you to do it, and then there are races where you really want to have on your palmarès when you end your career. And 70.3 St. George is definitely one of them. It's also a lot about the culture there, I guess. We have a really nice homestays, yeah, on this occasion, thanks to Sandy Daniels and the Daniels family. Yeah, it's always really nice, not only to race there, but yeah, just like the week leading up to the race. Yeah. Another question was, yeah, I mean, going further with the season, of course, first probably. I can't talk about all the races I'm gonna do next year, because as you might assume, some of the organizers want to yeah, get out the news themselves. But I'm definitely gonna do 70.3 World Championships in Chattanooga this year. I've done this race last year actually to check out the course, but when I've been there, I figured out they're actually gonna change the course, and yeah, so I'm not sure, but actually from what I've heard, the course will be really nice. And yeah, then there are some rumors that probably Alistair Brownlee is gonna race, which would be absolutely awesome. And I think, yeah, Javi is gonna give it a shot. He's already yeah, validated his spot in Dubai, so yeah, it's definitely gonna be a really worthy World Championship. So yeah, and then of course it's Kona, the big one. And that leads me to my next question. Somebody asked me what I would have done differently in both World Championships last year. I ended up runner-up in both, as well in Mululaba as in Kona. And yeah, what should I say? I mean, it's always easier afterwards to make some to come up with some smart decision what should have been done. Of course, probably I should have trained harder or whatsoever, but I think I was in the best possible shape for me in that year. I struggled really bad in the last 2 years, 2014 and 2015, with Achilles problems left and right. And yeah, it was way better in 2016. So I've done what I could have done on the running side, and then it comes down to decisions during the race. And I mean, based on the information you have about yourself, about the other guys during the race, you have to make the decision. And yeah, I think in Mululaba, I was just probably a little bit too confident at one point that I gonna win this thing, and I probably underestimated the willpower of Tim a little bit, especially yeah, on home soil. And yeah, in Kona, I think one of the biggest problems is also at one point you have to know if you're going at that pace we were going. I was pretty sure I couldn't go it the whole way, and I was sure Jan couldn't either. So when Jan, I mean, he didn't really attack, but when Jan kept going at that pace, and I struggled a little bit, I had the confidence in myself that I could actually catch him again later on the run. And I thought he's probably going a really high risk too. And it's also in Kona there are coming a lot of things together. And Jan had a really tough year, not only race wise, but I mean he, from what I know after my win in 2014, it is really challenging the year after. Not only to get yourself motivated, that's probably not a big thing, but at one point you want to satisfy the sponsors, the media, and so on. So yeah, that all comes together at the end in this race and plays a role. So I thought he might probably struggle towards the end of the race, and I mean, looking in his eyes after the race, I mean, he really struggled, but he's also one of the greatest fighters I know in the sport, and so he definitely deserved the win. For this year actually, I think it's going better and better again with the running, and I gonna keep that on a very high level right now, and I'm very happy with that. I know that I don't need like a whole lot of running to get into very decent shape. So fingers crossed that the Achilles are holding it up, and other than that, I'm really confident going into the year, and especially towards Kona. With being 33 racing Kona this year, I think that's definitely the best combination of still being hungry, but also being experienced enough to probably get a second world title. That's for sure. Let's answer some of the question that popped up here. One of the questions is if I'm gonna win Island House this year. I definitely love the race in Island House. It's a great format, but on the other side, it's really tough to race against short course guys this short after Ironman Kona. It's a whole different preparation, and I'm definitely gonna focus on Kona, but probably I'm not gonna do 70 Xterra World Championships this year, so there's a little bit more room. Let's hope I get an invitation, and then we'll see. What food? I mean, there were like probably 50 food questions. I try to answer some of them. I mean, for me, there's a simple rule about nutrition, and that's take your time. I mean, take your time to go shopping, groceries, and take your time to prepare the food. That's probably the easiest and best advice I know, because then the risk is really low to actually screw it up. And the second advice is just like be as much diversified as possible with your food. That just lowers the risk of actually doing big mistakes or lacking of some of the important nutritions. And I mean, there's always like this sorts of trends in nutrition. Right now it's probably low carb, and I see a point, and there is definitely some science that backs it up. On the other hand, it's a very complex system, and I mean, if you dig deeper into it, you will race mainly with carbs as a fuel. So your body needs to be able to burn carbs on a very high on a very high output. So it's important to kind of teach that to your body. So if you do like very intensive sessions, I will still recommend to actually take that as a chance to test your race nutrition, check out what's on course in a Ironman race, and just test that, so that you are racing actually with the fuel you're gonna use during the race. And of course, let's say if you just do a 1 hour easy run, you probably don't wanna have like 2 plates of pasta before that and start the race absolutely fully, start the training absolutely fully loaded with carbs, because it's always, for example, for me, I've done probably, I don't know, 100,000 10-mile runs in my life. So doing that at the same pace over and over again is nothing new for your body. So I often try to do, for example, a 1 hour ride before breakfast, or a 1 hour run before breakfast, just easy, to teach the body to burn fat as well. But then on the other hand, if I go for, let's say, the shootout on Saturday, I am not skipping breakfast before that. I mean, you want to be able to also destroy your muscles, and doing that, you definitely need the fuel to do it. So yeah, that's the thing. And if you want to, lose weight, or teach your body how to be more efficient with carbs or burning fat on a higher rate, I would recommend to actually start to adopt to a new diet when you are not increasing your training volume or increasing the intensity in your training, but more like in an easier week, or especially on rest days. That what I gonna do is always try to not eat big amounts of sugar during my rest day or rest week. Therefore, I try to be more on the fatty and protein side. So, and then another tip for me is to probably keep the carbs lower in the night before rest day. So it's also helping your body to produce testosterone, which is key for recovery. Let's see. What food would you recommend whilst training? Yeah, well, like I said, it really depends on what you are training. If you are new to the sport and you've never done a 4-hour bike ride before, you don't want to start that with only water in your bottles and nothing else. That's for sure. If you are already experienced athlete, you could actually play around with nutrition a little bit here, and probably don't take any carbs within the first 2 hours, or start to do some intervals at the beginning to empty the fuel storage, so to speak, and teach your body how to burn fat in the next 2 hours. But then you also want to make sure, don't do this when the weather is very cold, for example, or when you are already pretty exhausted, because it's also tough for your immune system. So the chances might increase that you get ill by doing something like this. Then one of the key things when it comes to nutrition is definitely after a race or after hard training sessions, to use this so-called window of growth. You want to make sure that you have proteins and carbs probably in a ratio 2-to-1 pretty soon after you finished your workout. So what I do is, for example, here we often ride Mountain Lamb, do like a pretty tough workout there. So I always have a power bar recovery shake with me, and I gonna take that right after the ride, because we're gonna drive back on the car, and then you have a shower, and then you prepare food. So that's about an hour or an hour and a half after you ride till you actually have some food. So yeah, try to make sure that you have it right afterwards, but also don't just like have immense amount of protein drink or stuff just after your 30-minute easy run. That's not necessary. Your body also needs to adapt to this sort of training, so you don't wanna like always treat him too well after easy sessions. So, are you using running power yet? No, I'm not. Of course, I saw what's new on the market, and I'm always looking at that. But to be honest, I just started, to use a power meter again in the last 2 years. Currently, the new Quark D0, which works really nice. And when I started triathlon, actually we did a whole lot of monitoring when I was in the regional, national squad, so to speak. So we had rest heart rate, we had Harnstoff. So then we had heart rate monitors, and they got analyzed all the data after pretty much every training session. We had like 5 or 6 tests a year, performance tests, where we got all the numbers together and stuff. So I found that really good, because you actually learn a lot about yourself, and you could compare the numbers to your actual feeling. So it's sort of an offset for your how you feel. So if I feel like this exhausted on a scale from 1 to 10, and the numbers tell you it's a 6 actually, and you feel like a 8, then probably it's okay to push through it the next time. But that's very important, because you want to be hard to yourself at one point and not always backing off. But then on the other hand, you don't want to get into the risk of overdoing it, because that also doesn't lead to success, and that's really important. So, and right now, I started to use some of the gadgets again. Like, actually, I'm wearing a fitness tracker right now, which makes it easy also for my coach to look into the data from the rides I'm doing here, from all the training I'm doing here. But not only that, it's also important, for example, for him to see how I sleep and everything. So I think it's really beneficial if you're not having a coach every day with you, and I don't need that since my coach knows me very well. So it's not really necessary to have a coach in like every session for me. But it's also important that he sees like how the development is, and also could tell me, well, my friend, it's time for a rest week, or well, the last session probably you could have done a little bit harder. So yeah. But yeah, I'm definitely looking into it with the running power. Right now, I think it's not really helping me a lot, because I think you could do a lot of the things that you probably get out of running power also out of the heart rate. And for shorter distances, I'm gonna use speed anyway. What do you think about the agreement between Ironman and ITU? I just read that yesterday, and actually I think it's a pretty good thing. First of all, it's confusing for some of the people from outside the sport with all the different kinds of rules and stuff, and I would love to see that we have a set of rules which are the same in every race. And I mean, the first thing before before we're talking about who is getting the biggest size piece of cake. We have to bake the cake, and I think that's important for the sport right now. Is triathlon still has a very big potential, even if it's probably not growing on a very fast scale in the US anymore. Worldwide, it's still crazy. I've just been in Egypt earlier this year, and yeah, it's just great to see all the excitement about the sport there, and yeah, in a lot of other regions. So yeah, I think that's a good thing. Let's see. What do you think is better, indoor or outdoor training, cycling and running? I think both has their time. I'm definitely not the guy who's doing all of the sessions indoor. I can't just like understand people doing that. That's really crazy in my eyes. But yeah, like I said, I have a Woodway treadmill at home, and yeah, using a text trainer, and I have my time trial bike most of the times there. So often I combine outdoor and indoor. So I go for a ride on my cross bike, and then I gonna switch to the TT bike for like probably 45 minutes at Ironman race pace, and then I would do a brick run on the treadmill, and that's nice and easy for me to do. And it's also, especially for brick runs, I found it really helpful to run on the treadmill, because it sort of eases up your stride a little bit. It's easier for you to actually gain some frequency and focus on a good form. Yeah. One of the questions was from somebody who was doing actually Ironman Arizona last year and dropped out, and is signed it up for the race this year again. But is not really motivated to get to start training, and well, I have to say, it's for the pros, it's also the same. I'm not always motivated for training, that's for sure. Actually, probably 20-30% of the times I'm not motivated at all, and then I have to ask myself, is it because I'm just like tired, I'm probably overtrained, or is it just because the weather is not nice outside or something like that? And I think it's important, especially for an age group, to keep that work-life balance. Sometimes it's better to skip a session if you are not really motivated for it, or if you're really tired, because it's probably not helping you. And also, I just recommend, I mean, I know how it is, after a race that probably was really shitty, you want to make up for this and sign up for the next one, and just like keep training again and get started again. But then it's getting really really tough not to get a burnout by doing that if you still have family and a real job to do. So I would just like recommend to take a break, and if you are getting excited again, then it's time to start training. And I mean, especially for Arizona right now, it's still a long time to go. So I think it's just don't do any training by plan, just do it whatever you like, and and then you'll see. Favorite session in each discipline. My favorite session in the swim is actually one from a friend from Manuel Küng. I've just done this session this morning. It's 40 times 50, 16 times leaving on 45 seconds. Every force is 100%. and then 12 times 50, leaving on 50 seconds. Every third time is 100%, and 8 times every second 100%, leaving on 55, and then 4 on 1 minute. All of them are full gas. I like that because it's really building into the session, and it's 2K, so I think it's a good session also to do for 70.3. Yeah, on the bike, I really love rides like the shootout ride here, for example, where you have a group ride and you're doing interval session and you could really focus on different things, which is great. And I often add something to that, for example, 3 by 10 minutes strength work, so over geared riding on a hill, to get like this feeling of actually riding like an Ironman, where your muscles are getting sore towards the end. Running, well, I would say my favorite session currently is the 30-minute easy jog, but it's not really helping me a lot. So I guess I have to say something like 50 times 400 on the track. It's the toughest session I do, but it's also the one that really helps me the most. It's 25 hard and 25 easy, and you do that in 3-minute pace per K for 1 lap, and then 4-minute K pace for another lap. So yeah, that's a lot of miles on the track, and it's I think it's really helpful as well as like for your mental approach, especially for Ironman. And it's also, it makes you fast for 70.3 racing, but also it sort of trains the body for the 4-minute K pace for Ironman. But I can't do it only so often because it's really tough. Lionel Sanders often mentioned how much he respected you and looked up to you. What athletes in Ironman do you still up to, or were inspiration for you? Of course, that was easier when I was younger and didn't had the results I had, but there are definitely a couple. It's Jan, because he's kicking my ass, but also because he's like definitely one of the hardest working guys I know, and he's also a great representative of our sport, especially in Germany. So that's a great thing, and I still, to get respect from him means a lot to me. But then there are also people I just admire because of their performance, and Lionel is also definitely one of them. Being in Tucson, he, for example, has the fastest time ever posted up Mount St. Lem, at least when it comes to Strava records, which is pretty crazy because I do a couple of rides up there, and he definitely posts some really crazy numbers, and also his training is really next level brainfuck shit. Sorry. So that's like really tough, and so I have a lot of respect for all the people that are working so hard in this sport. But then I also have a lot of friends in the sport, and that's, like I said from the beginning, it's really cool to not only race hard against each other, but then meet each other, and it's just a lot of nice guys, I have to say, at least most of them, and I love that. Another question was if I'm gonna be an amateur athlete after my my professional career, and I don't know if I'm gonna be an amateur athlete in triathlon. I probably don't think so. I mean, racing triathlons since more than 25 years now. I think when I'm gonna retire, I want to retire, and I want to have the feeling that there's nothing left anymore, and then I definitely keep doing some sort of sport, that's for sure, but probably not Ironman triathlon. I would love to do some endurance mountain bike stuff, like yeah, crocodile trophy, or yeah, just adventurous stuff. And then I promised my wife we're gonna do a yeah, race across the Alps one day. So as a team, we're gonna do that for sure. And yeah, a couple of other things I would love to do. So what else? Yeah, mental preparation for this year. The thing is, I mean, I always considered myself as a strong athlete mentally, but I had to experience this year that I lost two pretty close races as well, as being just, I don't know, I see that I still have some potential there, so I definitely gonna focus on that for this year. And I think I have some good advice here, and I'm definitely working on that. I don't want to go like too deep into the details, but as you all know, all the guys are within a very close margin. And at the end, it's often just who wants it the most, or who is ready to suffer the most. It's not only it's not only about the pros, it's also about the amateurs, and there's a lot of things you could do. So yeah. Somebody asked me what I think, what time is necessary to win Kona this year, and I think we are definitely getting closer to this 8-hour mark, and I guess that's what the guy wanted to know. But on the other hand, Kona is all about the conditions. It could have been Crowe, it could have been Mecca who have broken already broken the 8-hour mark. It could have been Norm Stadler. It's just a lot about the conditions, and yeah, so therefore I think it's more what kind of conditions we're gonna face this year, and that really really Madame Pelé decides at the end what's the time for the win. How many K I do during the whole season: swim, bike and run. So I think in swimming it should be around 1,100 K, on the bike around 16,000 K, and on the run, well, in the last 2 years it was not really a lot. It was probably 2,300 K, and but I had a couple of years where I was actually running around 4,700 something. So yeah. Is Paul Thomas overrated as a cyclist? Yeah, I think so, definitely, because he's always cheating, that's for sure. He's always sucking my wheel. What's my average power for the 140.6 on the bike? I mentioned that I just started training with power meter again, and I probably do some races with the power meter this year again. But from knowing the numbers from the other guys and knowing the numbers on track tests, what we do for aero testing, it should be somewhere around 270, 280 watts for a race like Kona. It really depends, like I said, a lot of on the conditions. If it's a couple of degrees colder, it's probably a little bit more. Yeah. How often do you take gels in a race? Well, it really depends on on the race format, of course. If it's an Ironman, I usually have 12 gels in a bottle, and I mix that with a little bit of water so it's easy to take. And at the beginning of the bike, I have a little bit of solid food. I always think that's helping me, just like to get the stomach ready to digest food. And it also helps to not feeling actually hungry. And then I have a gel probably every 15 minutes from 1 hour into the race. This year, Ironman. I'm considering doing my first Ironman, but I'm not sure I'm ready. What advice would you give me to get myself ready? Are there any events goals I should aim for before doing an Ironman? Well, doing an Ironman as your first triathlon is probably not the best idea. I know people who are doing it, and it's definitely possible. That's not a question, but the question is if you're gonna have a lot of fun, or you're gonna retire after this one race. So I would recommend, if you just started triathlon, to actually give you 3 or even better 4 years till you do your first Ironman. The first advice would definitely be to get into a swim club or something like that, get a swim coach probably, because that's really the most critical part, to learn a proper technique there. And then, just like to ride with other athletes helps a lot, and to train with other athletes in general helps a lot. You could watch them, what they are doing, and you could ask for advice. And usually I know the triathletes are very happy to give advice, sometimes also without asking them. I get advice all the time from a lot of athletes around me what I should do better. So most of the athletes are happy to help, I guess. So and then the next thing would be to start actually with a 70.3 race probably, or 5150, and do a couple of those, and then that's the easiest way to learn it, and then you will be ready for Ironman. So let's do 2-3 more. What device do you wear for racing, and what is your go-to device for watch your recovery, sleep, heart rate, etc., when you're maintaining recovery and health? I have a sponsorship with Polar, so I'm gonna use the V800 for racing. Right now, as I mentioned, I'm wearing one of the devices pretty much every day, so that my coach could track me pretty much from home and log in that page and see most of the sessions, and also see how I sleep and when I went to bed. That's what I use, and as a power meter, the Quark D0. I understand that you have doing the sport for a long time, pure triathlon background. How have you versed all over the storms of frustration, burnout, and so on? Yeah, I mean, I've done the sport for a really long time. The most people actually think I have some sort of a cycling background. That's not the case. I started with triathlon without doing any of the single disciplines before. Of course, as a German boy, I had to play soccer and stuff like that before. But other than that, straight to triathlon when I was 12 years old, probably, and or even a little bit younger. My wife told me I was 8, so I was 8 when I started, and that's a really long time. And I could definitely feel that some of my approach to racing and training changed a lot. When I was 14, 15, I would have loved to prove myself in every training session. Of course, I defined my life pretty much by doing the sport and whether I could beat other guys or not. But luckily, I didn't have too many people to train with back then, so I only destroyed myself like every other day, and not every day. So yeah, and I never really, I didn't start winning races till I was probably 17, 18, so that always kept me hungry. I always was close to the top, but not really at the top. And then on the other hand, my parents, they were super supportive, but I never had the feeling that whatever, my dad loves me more if I win a race or not. So that was a good thing, definitely, to have this this support from my family from the beginning on, and but no pressure or something like that. And then I always had stretches where I didn't really like the sport too much, and then sometimes I just took a break. For instance, till I was probably 24, I didn't ride my bike during winter for like 5 months or something. I just didn't want to go outside, and I didn't like the trainer too much. So I did some sessions, but most of the times I was just didn't ride my bike at all during 5 months of the year. And with a lot of things I approached triathlon like that, and I started studying physics after I finished school, and that also kind of holded me back a little bit, which was, I guess, a good thing, because in my opinion, you only have so and so much races at the very highest level in you, and yeah, I think that really helped me with ups and downs, and I never was shy also just to end my season sometimes in the middle of the year if I didn't feel like doing another race. So yeah. Another question: do you integrate weight training in your Ironman training? Yes, definitely I do. I think it's really important, especially in my age. That's crazy that I actually say that, but yeah, it's really helping me. I think especially Ironman racing is basically 3 things. It's the mental side, nutrition, and muscle fatigue. With pure endurance, we are all on a pretty even level. So yeah, especially the muscle fatigue is some key area I want to work on, and I work on that with a combination of discipline specific strength training, like overgeared riding on the bike, squats, leg press, and so on. And I don't want to tell you like the whole program, but it adds up to like 3 hours or something per week, and then the specific training on the bike or on the run. And then I have a lot of just like core strengthening stuff, which is really important to for racing marathon after 180k in the aero position, because it's a whole different kind of running than just pure running without being on the bike before. How long do I need to do an Ironman for the first time? I've already run marathon 24k. I think I answered some of them some of that a little bit. If you have already run a marathon, the key thing would definitely get confident in your swimming. Pick a race where you probably have one of the new start rules, so that you don't have a mass start, which is giving you probably a little bit of confidence for the swim. And then, I mean, it really depends on if you could already swim. Well, I would say to make it a good one and not your last one, give yourself 2 years. If you can't swim, then you definitely need a little bit more time. It also depends how old you are. Paul Huddle, how much coffee do you drink? Guess what? Quite a lot. But I am switching back and forth a little bit. How many hours do you train in a day and a week? Right now it's probably 30 hours average. Yeah, well, you could do the math. Do pros miss sessions even if you are really tired? Of course I do. That's probably one of the key things you need to learn is to separate between being too exhausted to do a session or just being a pussy to miss a session. So that's important to learn the difference about yourself. Your coach could help you with that. Of course, some devices could help you with that. So that's important to be able to skip sessions. Have you ever thought about running one by on your bike? Now it's my favorite questions. The all equipment stuff. Yeah, of course, I do, and on my mountain bike, on my cross bike, I'm running one by systems, and I think it's really the best choice for mountain bike and cross bike as well. And I also could see some benefits probably on a course like Dubai. For instance, if you look at Josh Amberger, friend of mine, he was running a one by system there. Of course, there's no real hill, so you don't really need to shift the front ring. On the other hand, you have, of course, the chain line is not always perfect. If you want to go like up steeper stuff, then you often lose a little bit of power because of the friction, because of that the chain line is not perfect. And then of course you have bigger steps in your gears on the back if you cover the same ratio. And so especially on a race like Hawaii, it's not an option for me, to be honest. On a really flat course, it definitely might be an option, just because of the aerodynamics. If you design a bike around that to skip the small chainring and the front there, then you could actually gain a little bit there. But on the other hand, where it might be more beneficial on a really tough course, where you could actually benefit from the little bit of weight saving, it might not actually be the best choice, because there you need a bigger ratio of gears. So on the road bike, I am not a believer in the church of one by systems. I'm really happy with the ETAP, how it works right now. That's a really smooth system. So let's do 2 more, otherwise you're getting like really bored, I guess. Looking at Kona last year, you were a little late out of the water. You ended up second with somewhat the same time difference in the end. Do you focus more on swimming now? Well, that's the thing. I mean, I'm focusing on swimming since 15 years. It's nothing new that my swimming is not not my strongest part, and that I often lose races because of that. And you can be assured that I'm gonna do everything possible to close this gap. But triathlon is a very complicated system. I mean, if I start doing two swim sessions every day now, I probably screw up my shoulder, and then I'm not able to swim at all. And guess what? It's already hurting. So that's a problem. The next thing is then my bike and my run training is probably not on the same level, and then I'm gonna probably lose the race there. So it's just like a different thing, a difficult thing. So what you really want to do is to make the training more efficient. Try to not do empty miles, which just wears you out, and so I try to focus more on quality in the swim. And yeah, well, I mean, then look at 2015. I was out of the water actually with the front group, but then I lost the race on the run. So yeah, it's not that easy often. often. Do you think restart training with 41 years is too old? Definitely not. I mean, when you're talking about restart, I assume you already done some things. So I think it's never too late to actually do something. And I mean, I know a lot of people. They studied with me, for example, and then they got their jobs and they got kids, and so of course they were not able to train on the same level than they were back when I was at the university with them. But now, yeah, the kids are growing up a little bit, and they have their success in the job, so they come back to triathlon. So actually, I think, yeah, when you look at the age groups, probably the age group 40 to 45 is the strongest age group. Okay, one more. Knowing that you were super technical on the bike, I don't know if I'm super technical. I still try to figure out how to wheelie my TT bike. Do you agree that the average age grouper is leaving a lot of free time on the bike with physics? Oh yes, definitely, that's for sure. I know a lot of age groupers who have a really big engine, and who also put a lot of time and money in their equipment. So that's for sure. But then often they let their ego decide during the race whether to overtake somebody or not. And even in Ironman, it's a lot of technical aspects where you want to go hard or where you want to go easier, and it's easy to actually screw up your race when your legs are fresh. That's pretty much the stuff for that stuff to do. Everybody does, and I've done it a couple of times, so I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, but where the race is really decided is towards the end of the bike, and then there are other things. I mean, sometimes you just don't wanna invest anything at all. You just wanna coast. For example, going down from Hawi doesn't really make sense to put it all out there. And especially on the age group side, there's always two ways to win a race, right? You could either be first at the finish line, or you could have the fastest time. And for the pros, it's often who is first at the finish line. So what I want to say with that is that it's a very tactical race. You watch on the others what they are doing. Sometimes somebody is attacking, you want to go with them. On the amateur side, you really want to focus on a fast time. So try to be really even. Don't get too hard, for example, on shorter climbs. just back it off and yeah, ride with the power meter to keep the power really even, or with a heart rate monitor. So yeah, I think that's my advice. Yeah, I hope you all enjoyed that, and yeah, you didn't fall asleep. Otherwise, here's a virtual coffee from me. Yeah, I wish you all a great year and good training towards your first races. Thanks for tuning in. Probably I'm gonna try to answer a couple of the questions. Yeah, just write the answers down, since I am now having all the passwords for this page. I gonna squeeze in something every now and then. Thanks, guys, and yeah, have a good time.